To the cottage we go. Yes, LEGO has managed what Disney couldn't to release Snow White in March of 2024. Disney's live-action remake was supposed to release this month but has been pushed back until next year, having caused a huge amount of controversy. I'm not going to address that in this video, I'm sure you can do it in the comments, but thankfully this set is not based on that. Still, the subject matter has caused a lot of contention, to the point that some feared LEGO would pull this set before its release. Thankfully, the waiting is now over and we have a set based on what's considered by many, including me, to be the greatest animation of all time. If we start with the minifigures, they are very much a mixed bag. 3 of them we've seen before, first being the Queen or Wicked Witch in her hag form, ready with not a basket of apples, but one apple that's huge AF. It'll certainly take Snow White some effort to bite into that. The Queen is the same as we've seen in the Disney Villains Icon set, which is fine for this one as she belongs in this set, but it does damage villain icons, which should really have had a different minifig in her place. Now she does have 2 expressions, both repulsive, but in the right way. It's a good minifig. As for Snow White, we've seen her before too in the Disney castle. Now I don't mind getting minifigs in multiple sets as it makes it accessible for more people. But that's not the case here. The Disney castle is expensive, and this set's not exactly cheap either. Now, with both being 18 plus adult only sets, it's a pity we couldn't have had a unique one. Still, she's got a great looking figure with nice printing and 2 facial expressions, one where she could be smiling, laughing or singing, and the other where she's in her poison-induced sleep. As for Prince Florian, it's the same story. He was also in the Disney Castle set. His expression either one of joy at seeing Snow White by the wishing well, or of despair in seeing her in her coffin, or realising that she's been shacked up with 7 other fellas in the heart of the woods. Now that does bring us to our 7 dwarfs, and it truly is great to get them. Whilst certain printed elements have been seen before, overall each figure is unique and they're a bit of a mixed bunch. Some people say they don't look right without the large noses that were such prominent parts, literally, of the characters in the movie, and I do get that, but I don't mind it. I actually think they've captured the personality of each character really well. What I'm not sure about is some of the alternative expressions. Doc looks good with a happy look on one side and a sad, reminiscent look on the other, which goes well with the coffin scene. Grumpy is also fantastic, with a fairly stern face on one side and a super grumpy look on the other. I think LEGO have done him perfectly. Dopey, on the other hand, is a mixed bag. Whilst I love the figure overall, and I like how they've done his big ears poking out of his hat, the expressions should have been more different. He's looking pleased on one side and overjoyed on the other with lipstick from Snow White's kiss, which is a nice touch. But I think a sadder look should have been included to go with the coffin scene, as neither of these expressions goes with that. Now the same can be said for both happy and bashful. I like both figures and their faces are great on both sides, but they lack contrast, being too joyful. We've had the coffin included in the set, so it makes sense for them to have a suitable look for when mourning Snow White. Both Sleepy and Sneezy get away with this though, as their alternative looks are suitably different, in my opinion, that they could be matched with any scene. Overall, whilst I have some criticism, it doesn't take away from my pleasure in finally having these figures, so it's a 9 out of 10 from me. Now, as for the cottage itself, it's a beautiful looking thing. Its style matches really well with medieval buildings, like the town square that's also just been released, and I think that helps it appeal to castle fans as well as Disney. You definitely still see a lot of places like this near where I live in rural England. The roof is first to capture the attention, and although the flaming yellowish orange is a bit bright to be a thatched straw roof, it does contrast nicely against the rest of the cottage. The roof is also horrible to put together. If you're a clumsy, fat-fingered oaf like me, then this really is a test of the patience. Even the booklet advises separating out the pieces to try and make it easier, but my face definitely matches grumpy doing this, and I still made mistakes which I had to go back and correct. When it is done though, I admit it adds a lot of nice texture, and I really like the 2x3 claw pieces which are new to this colour. In fact, there are a lot of rare and unique pieces to this set. I mean, the printed window shutters are obviously unique, as are all the little printed owl carvings. Even better, certain botanical elements are new, such as the white pieces on this tree here, and also the lavender leaf which goes with the coffin that we'll look at in a few minutes. It all adds a huge amount of detail that makes this set beautiful. I mean, I really like the ironwork on the door. These parts have only been used in Ninjago's Downtown and the Venomized version of Buildable Groot, and they look brilliant here. We also get some animals, but nowhere near enough. The wishing well gets a couple of doves, and we also have a pretty bluebird up here, but then it's just a couple of squirrels and a rabbit, which is apparently unique but looks exactly the same to me as what we got in the VIP Luna add-on pack. I'd have preferred them leaving it out of the add-on bags and just giving us more in this actual set. Worst of all, they missed the tortoise, which was the funniest creature in the film, and I was really wanting them to include it. Mind you, they haven't put stairs in the cottage either, so maybe that wouldn't have made sense. I also think that as this movie introduced Bambi before that film ever came out, it would have been nice to get another deer. Then, around this side, we have a section where the dwarves can handle their tools and examine their jewels, something they apparently need a magnifying glass for. Also quite a rare piece, most recently seen with the film noir detective in Series 25 CMF. Now, it's nice to get a nod to this, but really deserves a separate set to be the dwarf's mine. This will have to do though, and it is a nice touch. As for the inside, let's start up at the top and work our way down. Now, to get into the dwarf's bedroom, we need to remove this part of the roof, and it just rests on there, not hinged, not even clipped on. I really dislike it. I think it's lazy because it's not hard to knock this, and then it'll just smash the table, jewels, and trees below. However, once inside, the bedroom itself is great. I mean, true, it's a bit small, but the joy of this set is looking through to find all the little movie references. The beds each have a sticker on them with the dwarves' names, and yes, these are stickers, which I'm not a fan of, but there's not many in this set, so I don't mind. And all these beds look really good. Up above in the attic, there's a lost basket, a mug, a missing sock, and a whopping great spider. I don't think I'd get much sleep if I knew that was up there. However, I would be a lot happier in having this chest up here, which is filled with even more gems. Now, down to the bottom, we can get a pretty good view inside from either end of the cottage because it actually hinges open. There's just one catch holding it together, so you can easily open it up to check out things more closely. And again, there's lots of fun features sprinkled throughout the cottage, the best probably being the pie with Grumpy's name on that Snow White bakes him, which sits over by the sink. I also like the organ as well, stickers and all, and over in the dining area, the table and chairs are quite easy to take in and out if you want to. Either way, you can see the little fireplace where the pot is hanging, and thanks to a light brick which you can turn on or off from the outside, it makes it look like the fire is crackling away, cooking dinner. Of course, this whole thing is open-backed, and I know that will annoy some people. Personally, I don't mind, mostly because of the price. You see, this is £180 or $220, €220, which with 2,208 pieces, 10 minifigs, and a bunch of new pieces is decent for a licensed set. If LEGO had added enough to close this up, that price would have gone quite a bit higher, so I think this is good. We also get two little additional bills. The first is the glass coffin, fashioned by the dwarves for Snow White. The tree looks a bit weird, I don't like them, although there is some movement, which is nice. Also, that lavender piece is great to have, but does a poor job of looking like wisteria, which is what it was in the film. The coffin itself has a printed tile on both sides with Snow White's name on it, slightly obscured by the plants, and it does look really good. You can simply remove the top to take her in and out, and I do like how they designed the bed to be curved to fit the back of the minifigure. Then we have the wishing well, which has plenty of plants and does have a blue tile at the bottom for the water. Now, this was the first time we met Snow White in the movie and also Prince Florian, and it's been done really nicely.
Wanna know a secret? Promise not to tell?
I would have liked a slightly larger base plate so we could have stood them nearer each other, but that's my only complaint. So overall, I think this build has quite a few flaws, but none of them take away from it as a whole. It's a beautiful looking set, filled with nostalgia. It goes well with other medieval buildings and should appeal to more than just Disney fans. Personally, I'm so happy to finally have this set in my collection. Of course, let me know in the comments if you're a fan or any other things you would have liked to have seen. Thanks for watching, see you next time.